Hi there, this is Bianca Lopes, and this is Be in the Know, brought to you by OWI and Tail. And I have another amazing woman in identity, my favorite. I'm just gonna give her a hug because she's been through hell doing this. Her name is Kaelyn, and she's the person responsible for the content for this entire conference. You have the hardest job.
I have a great job because I've gotten to meet 250 incredible speakers.
How do you even manage 250 speakers, which all think that this is their diva day? You're not going to say that out loud in camera, but I will. It's not the Oscars, guys. Chill.
But they've all been wonderful. The content has been great. The sessions that we've had so far, ranging from things on master classes on self-sovereign identity,
which was an amazing attendance.
Yeah, it really
was.
For
a Sunday in Vegas when it's sunny outside,
right?
I was amazed about just not the attendance on the pool party, but actually the conversations that I had during the master classes.
Oh, great. I'm so glad you felt that way. I mean, it's always tough to compete with the pool. In previous years, we had feedback saying, I really like the diversity of content, but I want to go a little more deep on particular topics in identity. Mm-hmm. So what we had yesterday on Sunday was not only the self-sovereign identity, we had, for example, Yubico and Netflix talking about how they make their security and identity processes work. So from the really kind of 101 level identity content to how vendors and enterprises are really putting this into use in practice. So it's been a great diversity, and I think the master classes have been really great. So hopefully we'll be able to host them again next year.
That's amazing. How do you go about, Kaelyn, like it's a really tough job, right? Like you're bringing different, one of the things I love the conference, and I've been pretty blunt about it, is how many different stakeholders are coming here. Because identity is a multi-stakeholder problem.
Sure.
And for us to get things like interoperability or anything else, like we need to bring people together. How do you put a program that addresses that many needs and that many different levels of literacy effectively?
Yeah, so it's a tough question, and what we approached it this year was using those 6 different content tracks. So we have everything ranging from security to reg tech, digital identity, trust and safety, innovation and tech that kind of address the content side of that equation. And we really spent a lot of time this year focusing our speakers on that diversity of demographics like you were talking about. So we really wanted to make sure we sought out government and sought out nonprofit representation. And we sought out both traditional financial institutions and fintechs and digital native banks. So we really were careful about selecting people from a broad array of industries and constituencies, and then putting those people on a panel together so that, for example,
they can actually talk and interact
right.
and discuss the problem. How does the problem of this affect your industry?
Right, exactly.
Which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah, so for right now, for example, we have a panel that has Experian and the current Deputy Director of Login.gov, the US government's federated login system. So talking about public-private cooperation on digital identity issues. So we really want to bring people who have diverse perspectives on similar identity topics into the same room. And that's really what Know has been about from the beginning, is taking these problems and taking the solutions that people have been discovering across industries and putting them together in one room so we can raise the bar kind of across the board. So we really focused on getting the right people in the room. So we don't
talk to me about that, because you have speakers that are not the regular speakers. You have 70% of the speakers that have never kind of done this before.
60% are new speakers this year, 40% are returning, and we love to have that kind of legacy knowledge.
Yeah, I intend to stay.
She's
me and Bert, we would like to stay.
But yeah, so we try to keep it fresh by bringing in new people, and right now, actually right off the wall here, is the startup competition is going on. So all of the time there are new innovative technologies, new innovative people taking those technologies and putting them into new companies, and we want to make sure those people are heard alongside the traditional established identity community, to the extent there is a traditional established identity community, because it's always evolving.
It's changing too fast.
Right, exactly. So you're bringing in the people who are new and have new companies alongside the people who have seen it, how it evolves, and having those two perspectives talk to each other, I think, is really important.
So enough about Know, because you've done an amazing job.
Thank you, that's really sweet.
Tell me about Kaelyn. How did you get into, like, you've had a really interesting life. I know you've lived in China, you've done consulting, like how, I'm kind of in a pursuit of realizing how the hell do people end up in identity? Because it's not like I want to be a singer or a pop star or an engineer.
I mean, I do want to be a singer too.
Okay,
but,
well, this might happen. We might do. I think you are actually up for a Jenga.
Oh, that's true.
I have challenge with Philip from Airbnb.
I have to go track him down. He's running scared.
This is happening. Philip, we're coming for you. Okay, how did Kaelyn get into identity, and what do you love the most, or what is the most challenging for you?
Yeah. To be perfectly frank, I fell into it backwards, actually. So immediately before coming to OWI about 2.5 years ago, I was working for the U.S. Department of Defense. And people come at identity from the tech side, they come from the financial inclusion side. I came from the security side. So my background is in particularly Asia-Pacific security, hence the living in China and the living in Japan. And then the OWI team reached out to me and said, we're trying to build out our research and content side. And I had a background in research, not formally in identity, but in security and cross-border security in particular, which fundamentally is an identity problem.
Yeah.
And
Which most people don't think about, like, right? Like, I think that the biggest thing I found your research is doing is trying to remind people that, like, all these things, all these attributes, all this tech, all this crap that you're doing, it's actually identity.
Yeah.
It's actually a catalyst from an infrastructure perspective.
Right.
So you kind of you joined in
2016.
Okay. So you've been shaping and changing how this whole thing is evolving.
And this is my third no. It's been since it was a baby until right now, and it's gotten bigger every year, and I've seen it change every year since, starting in DC, where it was a federal crowd that I was pretty familiar with, to coming out here to Vegas, where there's a lot
now
of
fintechs, banks all over
Exactly. Yeah, so it's been a really cool evolution, and I love that about it. I am kind of a researcher and writer by trade, and not to mention my, singing aspirations, but we'll get to that later. But
I'm keeping you accountable to this.
We'll do it.
We'll do like a karaoke Asian security theme styled episode.
No 2020 karaoke competition.
Ooh,
wait for it.
It's on.
I'll put it out there.
Yeah, that one I'll play. Jenga, I quit. So
Right.
what is it like to be a chick in this business? Like homeland security, defense, Asia Pacific?
Yeah.
Like probably like the one person.
Yeah, specifically I was working with the US Army, so it was very much, I was in the minority in just about every way you could, being a civilian and being female and being kind of younger than the average bear. But I found being a woman in this industry really inspiring in a lot of ways. So you're right that tech is still really male dominated, but looking around the room today at the Women in Identity lunch, seeing all of our fireside chat speakers and education presenters yesterday, a lot of the leadership, as particularly big enterprises are getting smarter about identity, have become women, have
understood that to solve an identity problem,
Right.
you need diverse, and you can't ignore half of the world's population
Exactly,
to build a product.
Right, our solutions mirror the teams that build them, right?
Of course.
And so, now that more and more, companies are recognizing the identity problem as a discrete problem in and of itself, I'm seeing more and more inspiring women leadership come in, and that has been really exciting for me coming into it cold, 2.5 years ago, that even in the short time that I've considered myself a woman in identity, there's been a lot of growth, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
That's amazing. You inspire me all the time, and I'm so
thank you,
excited to have you. She's the best content. If you don't know about OWI and know, follow them and be in the know, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Kaelyn.
Thank you so much.